In today's episode,
Finish Mental Models and Systems to Complete Your Nonfiction Book by Musa Wababai.
What it really is, it's the haunted folder.
The haunted folder.
Right.
Inside lives the book, the one you swear you'll finish.
Someday,
once everything is perfect.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And that feeling of having all this critical knowledge just trapped in a draft, that's what we're tackling today.
Yeah.
Our whole mission here is to burn someday to the ground. We're going to give you a simple, punch-proof system for actually finishing that project.
And to do that, we're pulling from Musa Wababai's Finish framework.
Right.
It's brilliant because it takes writing, this thing people treat as a mystical ordeal.
Like winning the lottery or something.
Exactly, and it turns it into something totally manageable. It's about architecture, not just willpower.
And importantly, we're not talking about finding more time. This is for you, the busy professional.
Right.
We're giving you tools for, and I love this quote, actual humans, not magical, distraction-free productivity unicorns. So let's dive in. So the whole premise here is that good writing isn't really about clever sentences. It's applied psychology.
It's all psychology. Attention, momentum, fear, all of it.
So the big question from the source is, why do these brilliant ideas die on the hard drive?
Well, they don't usually die in some big dramatic crash. It's more like a death by 1,000 cuts. And the framework points to two main psychological killers.
Okay.
The first one is perfectionism.
Ah, the polite killer.
That's it. It sounds so noble, right?
Yeah.
I just need one more source, or I have to polish this intro one more time.
Mm-hmm.
But what's really going on there?
Under the hood, it's just fear of judgment. It traps you in this infinite loop of revising because if the work is never finished...
It can never be judged.
Exactly.
Okay, so that's one. What's the second killer?
The second one is much simpler. Just a total lack of planning. You've got no map, so you're just wandering.
You end up chasing every little tangent, every rabbit hole. And that just leads to exhaustion. And that's how you get that folder named, you know.
Final V2, final really .docs.
We've all been there. But there are also a couple of what the source calls silent assassins.
Ooh, I like that.
One is identity drift. This is where you lose your North Star. You start out writing the book you want to write, but then you get nervous.
And you start writing the book you think other people want you to write.
Precisely. And the book's core promise just becomes blurry, incoherent.
And the other one, I'm guessing this is the one I fall for, shiny object syndrome.
It's so tempting. You're 70% done with a project, you're in the messy middle, and suddenly a new idea seems so fresh, so clean.
So much easier than fixing the mess you're in.
Because starting is easy, fixing is hard. And the cure for all of this really isn't some huge burst of motivation. It's about replacing all that fear with small, reliable systems.
Okay, so let's pivot to solutions. Let's get into the framework itself, starting with the first two letters, F and I.
Right. F for frame your identity and I for install habits. This is about fixing the writer, not just the project.
So identity, why is that the starting point?
Because motivation is fickle, it comes and goes. But identity endures.
Okay.
If you can say, I'm someone who writes a little every morning, that's a powerful psychological shield against, I don't feel like it today.
Right. It's a claim about who you are, not just a promise about what you'll do. So instead of, I'll write for 3 hours on Sunday.
Which will never happen because your willpower will be shot by then.
You just become the person who shows up, even for 5 minutes.
Exactly. And you earn that identity through tiny, consistent reps.
Which leads perfectly into I install habits. This is where you make it automatic.
It's the classic habit loop. Cue, routine, reward. The trick is to attach the routine of writing to a cue that already exists in your life.
So you're not trying to find new time or new energy.
You're just hijacking an existing pathway. The source has this great example of an executive who wrote a whole book draft while traveling constantly. Not with marathon sessions, he just scheduled 20 minutes every single morning, anchored by a ritual. Same chair, same coffee, same music playlist.
Ah, so the ritual was the cue.
The ritual was the cue, and his identity was, I'm a person who writes 1 page a day. That combination is almost unbeatable.
And to make this really stick, the source says we need to swap out a couple of broken mental models.
Yes. The first is shifting from a scarcity mindset to an abundance mindset.
Okay, explain that.
Yes.
Because if you're a busy professional, time is scarce. Rushing out a messy draft feels risky.
That's the scarcity mindset talking. It says you have one shot, so you have to polish and polish until the book just petrifies on your hard drive.
And abundance says what?
Abundance says shipping a messy draft is how you get data. The cost of a messy first draft is 0. The cost of an unfinished draft is 100%.
I see. So you have to force yourself to iterate.
Yes. There's a practical exercise. Force yourself to write 3 different openings in a week. Not to find the perfect one, but just to generate options. It breaks the paralysis.
That makes a lot of sense. It gives you permission to fail. And this connects to the other model, maps versus territory.
Precisely. Your outline, your plan, that's the map. It's clean, it's tidy.
The territory is the actual messy process of writing.
And the mistake is thinking the map is the territory. You have to let the discoveries you make while writing, let them update the map, not stop the journey.
Okay, so you've built the identity, you have the routine, but that's when the internal critic really wakes up.
This is the psychological warfare stage.
And this brings us to navigate mind traps. The key tool here is something called second-order thinking.
This is maybe one of the most powerful ideas in the whole framework. So first-order thinking is immediate. It's shallow.
Give me an example.
Okay, so a writer thinks, if I revise this introduction again, it will be better. And on the surface level, that's probably true.
That's first-order thinking.
Yes. Second-order thinking asks, and then what happens? So if you revise that intro 10 times, sure, it might be marginally better. But the consequence, the second-order effect, is delay. You get no feedback. You're still stuck.
So the higher value move is the one that creates more options later.
Always. Publishing a messy draft to a few trusted readers to get real feedback that creates tons of valuable future options. Polishing it again creates 0.
You're trading a little bit of polish now for a massive amount of momentum later.
You got it.
Which leads us straight into I interrupt perfectionism. We know it's a defense mechanism. How do we actually fight it day to day?
The first strategy is simple but so effective. Separation.
Separation of what?
Drafting and editing. They are 2 different jobs, they require 2 different hats, and you are not allowed to wear both at the same time.
I am so guilty of this. I'll write a sentence and then spend 5 minutes fixing the grammar in it.
And you kill all your creative momentum. Drafting is a high-energy, invention-focused task. Ignore commas, turn off spell check, just get the ideas down.
And editing.
Editing is a low-energy, meticulous task. You're a detective hunting for errors.
2 different mindsets entirely.
And to protect that inventor mindset, you need the shitty first draft rule. You literally give yourself permission for the first version to be awkward and clunky. It's just clay.
Okay, but what about when that little voice pops up anyway saying, that metaphor is weak, or you need to check that fact?
That's where you use the parking lot.
The parking lot.
At the top of your document, you keep a little list called parking lot. When the critic says, check that timeline, you don't stop writing. You just type check timeline in the parking lot, and you keep going.
So you acknowledge the note, but you don't let it hijack your progress.
You honor the standard without sacrificing the momentum. It's a game changer.
That's brilliant. You're giving the inner critic a job, but taking away its veto power. Okay, now for the external structure, S-set systems.
Right, and the key to any good system is overcoming inertia, which is why you have to use the tiny start.
Meaning the goal for starting is so small, it's ridiculous.
It has to be impossible to refuse. Your promise to yourself isn't, I'll write for an hour. It's, I will open my draft and write 1 sentence.
That's it?
That's it. Because once you're in the chair and you've broken that initial resistance, that 1 minute often turns into 30.
It's all about breaking the inertia.
Totally. And part of that system is also managing your energy, not just your time.
Okay, what does that mean?
You match the task to your energy level. Use your best high energy hours for most people. That's the morning. For the hard stuff, for invention, for drafting.
And the low energy times.
Save those for mechanical tasks. Fact-checking, formatting, organizing your notes. Don't waste your peak brain power arguing with a comma.
And the system also has a way to plan for failure, right? This anti-fragile planning, the pre-mortem.
Yes. This is fantastic. Before you even start, you imagine it's 6 months from now and the project has totally failed.
A bit grim.
But incredibly useful. You then ask, how did this happen? And you list all the reasons. I ran out of time. I got overwhelmed by the research.
And then you can plan for those things before they happen.
Exactly. If running out of time is a risk, you pre-book a couple of buffer weekends on your calendar right now. If research is a risk, you set a rule. No more than 2 hours of deep dives per chapter. You're preparing to succeed by planning for how you could fail.
And speaking of speed, the source talks about using AI. This is going to be a tricky subject. How do you use it as a tool without it writing the book for you?
This is the crucial guardrail. The model is called human first seed. Your expertise, your unique ideas, that's the seed. You write the messy first draft, the bullet points.
And then the AI?
Then you use AI for amplification and speed. You ask it to expand your bullet points into 3 different paragraphs or generate 10 analogies for a concept. You're using it to break the blank page paralysis.
But you're always in the driver's seat.
Always. And the most important rule, you treat every fact, date, or quote the AI gives you as a lead, not as gospel. You have to verify everything. The human is still responsible for the truth.
Okay, last letter. H, human feedback. The book isn't a solo art project.
It's a mirror. And you need other people to tell you what's actually being reflected.
So who do you ask?
You need between 3 and 8 beta readers. Fewer than 3 is just noise, more than 8 is chaos. And you want a mix of profiles.
Like what?
Your ideal target reader, for sure, a general reader who knows nothing about the topic, and critically, the brutal but kind reader.
The one who isn't afraid to tell you chapter 3 is boring.
That's the one. Their feedback is gold.
And when all those notes come back, how do you not get overwhelmed or defensive?
You have to triage it like a medic. Don't react emotionally. Treat it as data. Look for consensus. If one person doesn't like something, that's an opinion.
But if 3 people flag the same confusing paragraph...
That's not an opinion anymore. That is objective data that something is broken and needs to be fixed. You filter everything into 3 buckets: keep, revise, or remove. It's a process.
So if we pull this all together, finishing that big project isn't about finding a magic muse.
No, or waiting for 3 months of free time to appear on your calendar.
It's about having a system. Small, deliberate, well-designed steps. And that finish framework: identity, habits, navigate, interrupt, systems, human feedback. That seems to be the path.
It is. You don't need more time. You just need fewer excuses. A system that removes the friction.
So for anyone listening, what's the first step?
Just pick one letter from the framework this week. Just one. Maybe it's S, and you design a tiny 2-minute start ritual. Or it's N, and you try using second-order thinking on one problem.
Because in the end, the book itself was never really the point.
The book is just the artifact.
The real story, the actual reward, is becoming the kind of person who shows up and finishes what they start. That new identity is the thing that lasts.